I'm Nikolai, and in this tutorial we're going to be exploring an abstract art technique using the sgraffito effect with oil pastel. The first thing you would do is loosely draw an abstract grid of random lines across the page, just like so. At this stage, I'm not really thinking about where I want to put them. I just let my hand go and make sure that I have a visual divide of even spaces and shapes across the page. This seems to be enough. The second thing you must do is you need to choose light color oil pastels and cover the entire page with those colors. So you can see here I've chosen white, mint green, and I'm adding some yellow on the top. So the way this works is you need to layer light colors first and then dark colors over the top. It is also important that you color in all of your white spaces on the paper. So that's the order you should follow. Once the whole page is coated with a nice layer of light oil pastels, you can then choose individual colors for each of those shapes that you have created previously. So here I'm choosing earthy colors such as olive greens, browns, and to contrast it, I'm adding a bit of blues and purple shades as well, just to give it some visual effect. The other things you could do is you can also blend two different colors within one space to give it some visual appearance and some aesthetics. I also make sure that when I'm covering an area with my second layer, that I really cover it well and make sure there's no gaps showing. You could also use your finger to smudge certain areas that don't look smooth, and at this stage I'm trying to make sure that it's done well. I sometimes even go over it the third time if I want to add some gradation effects or blend more colors for visual appearance. As I'm touching up my final shape with oil pastels, I'm going to prepare a tool that I've created using chopsticks. It is a tool I'm going to use to scratch the surface of the oil pastel layers. And you can see here I've chiseled off one edge to make it flat. This way, when I scrape it, I can create really nice thick lines with it. And you can use this tool to create beautiful patterns in such an easy way. For this area, I've decided to do like a chessboard effect, and look how easy you could create these patterns using a tool that you've made on your own. Now I've sharpened the opposite side of my chopstick tool with a pencil sharpener, thereby creating a really pointy edge so that I could use to create finer and thin lines. So in technical terms, sgraffito is an Italian term which means scratched or to scrape. And in visual arts, it is a technique used not only in painting, but also in pottery, glass, which consists of putting down a preliminary surface, then covering it with another, and then scratching the superficial layer in such a way that the pattern or shape that emerges is of a lower color. An important point to remember when creating your patterns using the sgraffito technique is to make sure that your empty blank spaces are filled with lines. So when my students are making their artwork, I will always point out, fill in your empty spaces, don't just leave it blank, put some lines in there to create a pattern, because it looks visually appealing and creates a nicer contrast and nicer balance to show the layers of colors that you've created. Now for this next area, I've decided to do a pattern which I've named the looping number 8. Basically, you are using the number 8 and extending it as a continuous line, thereby creating a very beautiful, visually appealing pattern. This is one of my favorite patterns and a lot of my students like it as well. So have a go at trying to create this pattern. You can first do a little practice test with a pencil on a piece of paper, and once you get the hang of the skill, you can there continue applying it on your sgraffito scratchboard. So what are some of the benefits of drawing and creating patterns through art? Well, that's a really good question. Patterns are mesmerizing, they are beautiful. They also are useful tools for growing your creativity. Patterns exist everywhere around us, in nature and in the very fabric of our existence. When you draw patterns, you are improving your art skills, sharpening your focus and decision-making abilities, and you're also allowing your mind to slow down and sort through your thoughts. It's a good way and a very therapeutic way to de-stress and unplug when you have a busy day or when you are preoccupied with thoughts that are heavy on your shoulders. So why are patterns important in the world? When we see patterns, we're able to predict, to count on things happening and feel more confident. Creating patterns also is a way that helps us prepare and be ready to make different choices and make different calculations. Noticing these routines and patterns in everyday life help us prepare our students to notice other patterns. And patterns exist in all walks of life and in many disciplines. Through storytelling, you can create patterns through dancing and choreography. You can follow predictable patterns in learning mathematics. You can find patterns through language, such as vocabulary, syntax, and grammar. You can also explore patterns through sound waves and vibrations. And also, through mathematics, the study of patterns is all about structures and numbers and geometry. And seeing patterns and structures in the world around us is a key mathematical habit of mind, and one that students are developing from the first days of life. So what are some other ways we can explore the idea of patterns? Rather than just through visual arts, as explained earlier, patterns can be seen through many different disciplines. When having a conversation with my students, we started talking about routines and how our daily routines can also be seen as structures of different patterns, which in turn we call habits. So what is a pattern habit and how do we use this in our daily lives? A pattern habit is basically a routine behavior or a practice that we perform regularly, and often we do this subconsciously, such as brushing your teeth or washing your face in the morning. It's a routine that you repeat consistently, and it becomes programmed in our daily routine. And it is something that allows us to carry out our actions without expending much thought or effort in it. Habits can either be positive or negative. Positive pattern habits such as exercise and eating healthy daily can improve our overall well-being. Negative habits, on the other hand, such as procrastinating or smoking, that can hinder our health and success in life. So we need to develop habits for various reasons, and pattern habits can simplify complex tasks, they can increase efficiency, or turn our daily routines into a comfortable rhythm. However, this automation also has its drawbacks, such as getting stuck in an undesirable emotional, mental pattern that can lead to unhealthy behaviors. So being mindful of our pattern habits and understanding why we develop them and actively working to cultivate positive ones can have a profound impact on our daily life. And there we have it. The final result looks absolutely stunning. I'm very happy with how it turned out, and I'm very impressed with how the creating process went through messy, sticky, smudgy stains and ugly fingerprints to a nice, smooth, polished and clean design. I could not have hoped for better, and I had an absolute blast making this beautiful artwork, and it's highly satisfying creating art through the sgraffito technique. And I hope you give this a go and try it yourself and find it equally satisfying. So that's enough for me for now. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your company, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.